For this crochet project, you're going to need your 3.75 millimeter crochet hook, as well as a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle or a darning needle. I like to use ones with the pointed end. You're also going to need some chenille pipe cleaners, craft pipe cleaners, and I chose the red kind. For the eyes, just choose your favorite safety doll eye. You can use plain black if you want to. I'm using one with a neat little blue edge to it. And I like the ones with the plastic or the metal backing. To me, they work best. Again, this is a 10 millimeter size. For the feet, I used a 7-foot beading wire by Hildy and Joe. It's a 16 gauge. And try to choose a color that's like a gold or a copper colored, since it's going to be the feet for your bird. For your yarn choices, I just used one skein of a cherry red colored yarn, one skein of a tan colored yarn, and then one skein of a black colored yarn. You could use any style yarn that you want that's 100% acrylic, medium 4 style yarn, like Red Heart, or you see this is Red Heart, and then I also like Crafter's Secret Big Idea, or I Love This Yarn. The yarn that I used for the orange is from I Love This Cotton Yarn. But you could use a medium 4 100% acrylic yarn if you wanted to. I just love the orange color that they have. So for the stand, you can use any 100% acrylic medium 4 style yarn that you want. I'm going to use my Crafter's Secret Big Idea, and of course I'll have plenty left over. Get a free pattern included with this one. This color is Magnolia Way. Here's some information about this yarn. Now for the stand, I used my 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. For the log, I just used a 100% acrylic medium 4 style of yarn, and this one is some of my leftover Crafter's Secret Big Idea yarn, and the color is brown. So we're going to start with our red colored yarn, and we're going to start with the magic circle to make the head. So you're just going to drape the yarn across your 4 fingers, use your thumb to stabilize, and then just wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers and hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb. Then take your crochet hook, go right under those 2 loops, bring up a loop, then yarn over, turn the hook upside down, go through the loop for a slip knot. Then you're going to place 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So just take your crochet hook, go under those loops again, bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through both loops for 1 single crochet. And we're going to make a total of 6 single crochet into the magic circle. So there's 2. So after you finish making 6 single crochet into the magic circle, just take your 4-finger and thumb. You're going to hold the base of the 6 single crochet. You have these 2 loops on the opposite side. You're going to pull on one of them. If it doesn't close, let go and pull on the other one, but this one's closing. Don't worry if you don't get it completely closed. You can close it more later. Then just take that loose yarn end and pull on that. And then turn your work. We're going to form a circle, and then you're going to make 2 single crochet into the first stitch. So just take your crochet hook, go into the first stitch in the circle, and then you're going to bring up a loop, and then make a single crochet, and then you're going to make another single crochet into the same stitch, and then you're going to make 2 single crochet into every stitch around until you have a total of 12 stitches in the round, and then come back. So now we're going to make another increase round, which means we're going to be increasing the number of stitches in the round. So you're going to take a yarn marker. I just use one of my scraps of yarn. Just place it right where you left off. And then for your increase round, you're going to make 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch. And then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker. So 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then 2 single crochet into the second stitch, and then repeat that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker. So now you should have a total of 18 total stitches in the round. Go ahead and remove your yarn marker, and then we're going to join our black colored yarn. So just take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch over and bring up a loop, and then you're going to bring your black yarn in, and then just take your crochet hook, loop the black colored yarn and bring it through both red loops. Go ahead and drop that loose yarn end, chain 1, and then just take and tie a knot. Don't cut your red yarn because we're going to carry it as we crochet. So just tie a knot where you joined the black yarn. And then you're ready to crochet with the black and the red colored yarn. So what you're going to do is you're going to crochet around your red colored yarn with your black colored yarn. So just lay the red colored yarn along the side of the magic circle. Then take your crochet hook with the black colored yarn, go ahead and go into the next stitch, go behind the red colored yarn, bring up a loop with the black colored yarn, then yarn over with the black colored yarn only, and then go through both loops to complete a single crochet with the black colored yarn. So that's your first single crochet with the black colored yarn, and you're carrying your red colored yarn. So go into the next stitch over, go behind the red colored yarn, pick up a loop with the black colored yarn, and then make a single crochet. Then you completed your second single crochet. Go into the next stitch over behind the red colored yarn, bring up a loop, make a single crochet for your third, and we're going to make 6. So this is my fourth single crochet, my fifth, and the 6th. So this is how your work should look, and you're also carrying your red colored yarn, and this is the wrong side of the work. So now you're just going to drop the black colored yarn, and we're going to pick up the red colored yarn only. And you're not going to crochet around the black colored yarn. We're going to pick it up when we come back to the other side. So just drop it and then just pick up the red only. So we're only going to be crocheting with the red, and we're not going to be crocheting around the black. So now you can just make 1 single crochet into every stitch back to the black colored stitch, and you're just making 1 single crochet in each stitch with the red only. So go ahead, make one single crochet into each stitch until you return to the black colored yarn, and then come back. So now I have a stitch of the red colored yarn right before the black colored yarn. So just take your crochet hook, you're going to go into that next stitch with the red colored yarn, and then you're going to go into one of the black stitches with your red colored yarn. Then you're going to drop the red colored yarn, pick up the black colored yarn, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop with the black colored yarn, and then make a single crochet. So that's the first one. Second, third, and then you can see how we joined the color right at the black portion. So you're going to make one single crochet in each of the black stitches until you get to the last black stitch. So we're going to make a red stitch into that last black stitch. So now I'm going into the black stitch. I'm going to bring up a stitch with the red. So just bring the red across the wrong side and then bring up a loop. And then just yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And then you're just going to continue with the red colored yarn only. And then just make one single crochet into each stitch. Until you get back around to the black colored yarn. So now I have one stitch left before I have to the black colored yarn, and this time you're going to go into that red stitch, drop the red colored yarn, grab your black colored yarn, bring up a loop, and then just make a single crochet, and then you're going to make one single crochet until you get to your last black stitch. So one single crochet in each of the black stitches with the black colored yarn only until you get to the last black colored stitch. Then you're going to drop the black colored yarn, pick up the red colored yarn. You're going to go into the next stitch, bring up a loop with the red colored yarn. Be careful that you don't pull the yarn and distort the head. So you may want to open up the head a little bit, make sure it's not getting distorted. And then make your single crochet. And see how you have a nice black colored portion forming. And then you're going to continue. You can pull on the black colored yarn a little bit to cinch down that loop. And then you're going to continue crocheting with the red colored yarn back around and then come back. So now I'm back to the black portion. I have one stitch left. So now I'm going to go into that stitch with my crochet hook, and I'm going to bring up the black colored yarn. So I'm going to grab the black colored yarn and then bring up a loop. And again, you don't want to make sure that it's not pulled too tight so that you're distorting the head. And then just make a single crochet with the black colored yarn. Then you're going to go into the next stitch with your black colored yarn, only you dropped the red colored yarn. And this will be our last round with the black colored yarn. And then when you're right at the stitch, you have one black stitch remaining. Go ahead and drop the black colored yarn, pick up the red colored yarn, and then just resume. Make sure you pull that on the inside so it's not distorting your head. And then you can kind of give a gentle tug with the black colored yarn and then make a single crochet. Then you can go ahead and cut the black colored yarn. Make sure you leave a little bit of a loose yarn end. And then just take and tie a knot with that black colored yarn, loose yarn end. Then you can take and just make a single crochet into each of the remaining stitches with the red colored yarn until you get back to the opposite side and then come back. So now you're back to the black colored portion. Go ahead, I have one stitch remaining of the red. Go ahead and grab your yarn marker, place it right where you left off. We're going to make an increase round, which means we're going to increase the number of stitches in the round. And we're going to do that with our red colored yarn. So for this increase round, you're going to make one single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 3rd stitch. So 2 single crochet into the same stitch. Then you're going to repeat that pattern. So 1 single crochet into 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 3rd stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around, back to the yarn marker, and then come back. So this is how my work looks so far. And I have 24 to 25 stitches in the round. And the reason why it may vary, and don't worry if it does, it's fine, it's because sometimes when you color change, you'll work into a stitch that's actually a color change and you think it's a stitch. But it doesn't really matter much because all it does is just alter the size of the head a little bit, which is fine. So from now on, the stitch count, you'll want to pay attention to the stitch count. But like I said, if you get one off, that's fine at this point. So now we're going to place our safety doll eyes. If you like mine with the little blue on the edge, I used Fab Lab eyes, the 10mm. So now just take the safety doll eyes and you're going to place them where you want on the head. So for mine, I placed it right into the end black stitch on both sides. And I have approximately 3 stitches of the red in between. And then from the top of the magic circle, I'm 1, 2, so the tops of the eyes, I'm on the right underneath the 3rd round. Then when you're happy with the placement, you can go ahead and place your safety latches onto the back. This is how mine looks so far. It's turning out really cute. So now I'm just going to go ahead and set the head aside for now. We're going to make the beak. So now go ahead and get the orange color that you're using for the beak. And then you're just going to fold the yarn over on itself to form a loop. Take your crochet hook, go right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb. And then you're just going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for a slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down, and then cinch the loop around the crochet hook. And then you're going to make a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to make a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. Just bring up a loop and make a single crochet, and then you're going to make a single crochet into the last stitch. Then turn your work and then make a single crochet into that next stitch. Whoop. So you want to get into that next stitch and then make a single crochet. Then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and then pull enough yarn through to help you sew the 2 pieces of the beak together. You're going to make one more the exact same way. So I'm going to make that with you again. So I'm going to fold over the yarn to form a loop. Hold the base of the loop with my middle finger and thumb. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for my slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down. Cinch the loop around my hook. Chain 3. Make a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. And then a single crochet into the last stitch. Then I'm going to turn my work and then make a single crochet into that next stitch. Then I can finish off and then just bring a little bit of yarn through. You don't need much to sew the 2 pieces together. So now we're going to sew the 2 pieces of the beak together. So now you're going to take the 2 pieces of the beak. Where we finished off will be at the tip of the triangle for the beak. This portion on the opposite side is going to be attached to the head of the bird. And then take your 2 loose yarn ends at the base and tie them together to form a knot. Then, after you tie your knot, take your tapestry needle and put one of the long ends that you left for sewing onto your tapestry needle. And then you're going to sew down one of the sides of the beak. So you just take and go through the tip first, of the beak first, and then just take and go down the side of the beak. And then sew the edge together. And then when you reach the bottom, go ahead and tie a knot with the loose yarn end, and then repeat the same thing down the opposite side with your other long loose yarn end that you left for sewing. So now here's the beak, and you have one long yarn end for sewing that you just finished the one side, and then you have 3 on the other side. So leave one longer one for sewing the beak on, and then take the 2 shorter loose yarn ends and put them onto your tapestry needle, and then you're going to go right, here is the base of the beak, you're going to go right down the center of the beak and out the point. If it's too hard, just go right above it. And then bring that loose yarn end through. We're just going to bury them into the center of the beak. And then you can take and trim it. You want to leave 2 of the longer ends for sewing the beak onto the bird. So go ahead and bury the shorter loose yarn ends. And then come back. So now you want to line up your beak on the bird, and then take your loose yarn ends and then use those to sew the beak in place. So make sure you have the right side of the beak showing that you want showing on top, and then you want a little bit of black to show above the beak, and then you want to center the beak between the eyes, and then just go right through and sew along the top and the bottom of the beak, sewing it in place. So this is how my beak looks. Turned out really good. So now, after you sew the beak, I want to cover these little red spots that are on the black portion because I want to have a clean black square on the face. And to do that, just get some black yarn on your tapestry needle, and then you're just going to come up from the wrong side. Now make sure that you have your red yarn off to the side. You don't want to sew over that. And then just come up from the wrong side with your tapestry needle and the black colored yarn. Leave a loose yarn end on the inside for tying a knot, and then just go over the red portion with the black colored yarn. And then you can take and tie a knot. And first I'm going to go a couple times just to make sure I get it covered. See, that covers it up nicely. And then I'm going to go, before I tie a knot, I'm just going to go up and take care of that one right above it too. So go ahead and cover any red dots if you want to on the face. Now that's what it looks like. And then you could do the same thing for the red if you want to cover any black dots, which is what I'm going to do now with the red colored yarn. So my red colored yarn is still attached to the skein, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it, because I can tie a knot and then resume crocheting. So I'm going to get a little bit more. So if you're able to get more red yarn without cutting your skein, you can do that as well. And then just get enough to where you can cover the dots if you need to. And now this is how it looks. It looks good. So then you can take and tie the red colored yarn back to the skein if you had to cut it. And I always leave a little bit of a loose yarn end on the opposite ends of the knot. And then you're ready to resume crocheting on the head. And we have a nice face for the bird. So go ahead and take your crochet hook, and then you're going to move up the yarn marker to where you left off, and this is where the stitch count, whatever stitch count that you had for that last round, you need to maintain that stitch count. So now you're going to make one single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 5 rounds. So I had a total of 24 stitches in mine, so I'm going to be maintaining my stitch count of 24. So now I'm up to the knot. I'm just going to bring up a loop, and then you just keep crocheting the same way, just around the knot, and you can pull the knot back in through the wrong side, and then just continue crocheting. So go ahead and make one single crochet in every stitch around until you've completed a total of 5 rounds. So now, after you finish your 5 rounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of one single crochet in every stitch, you can go ahead and remove your yarn marker, and then you're going to bring in your pipe cleaners. So go ahead and grab your pipe cleaners, and we're going to get ready to put the hair on your bird. So take one of the pipe cleaners, and then you're going to go through the top of the bird's head, right where you want to place the first one. So I'm going to go from the magic circle 2 rounds up. See if I want one there. Actually, I'm going to go from the magic circle and 1 round up, and I'm going to center the hair and then just go right through one of the holes, the crochet holes, and bring the pipe cleaner through. And you can always trim it later, so just bring it through and leave an amount of the cleaner outside of the head. So this one's about maybe a couple of inches high, and then you can take and then just trim. So go ahead and cut a little bit of what's hanging out, because you want to leave a long enough pipe cleaner on the wrong side or the inside of the bird so that we can tie a knot and secure the pipe cleaner. Now, people always get on me about cutting different like wires or whatever, because the scissors, it'll dull your scissors. So make sure that you have inexpensive scissors that you use to cut the wire. So you may have 2 pairs of scissors, your good one where you never would do that with, and then one that you don't mind cutting the wire with. And then you're going to take that leftover pipe cleaner and you're going to go right behind one round up, directly behind the previous pipe cleaner, and then just bring it through to the wrong side. Now you may have to go in and out until you poke your way through, and then just gently pull it through about the same height, because remember, we're going to trim it after we're done. So now you have 2 in place. So now you're going to take another pipe cleaner and you're going to do the same thing. So now I'm going to go right into the center of the magic circle and then just bring the pipe cleaner through. Again to the same height. Then you can take and trim. And then stick the last one in directly behind the last one that you put in. And then just bring that through. Then you can take and turn your work inside out. And then you want to be careful that you don't bring the pipe cleaners through and mess up the design that's on the outside. So just take and tie a knot. And again, you want to be very careful because you don't want to pull it through. You want it to still remain on the outside design. So just take and tie a knot with the pipe cleaners that are on the wrong side, and then just turn your work inside out and just make sure that your pipe cleaners are still, that you have enough hair on the right side, which I do, and then I can turn my work back inside out. And then I can take and tie the pipe cleaners to the loose yarn end that's on the inside from the magic circle. So I'm going to tie each one to this loose yarn end. And then you could take and just kind of twist the wire in on itself, kind of curl it down and then twist it around and then just trim it. And do that for each one. this is what it looks like when I'm finished. So that way it's not going to come back through to the right side. And then you can turn your work back inside out. Then you can take and trim it. So I'm going to trim mine at an angle, and you can decide if you want it to be, how long you want it to be. So I might go a little bit shorter. And then you can kind of style it how you want it and continue to trim it if you want to, but that's about how I'm going to leave mine. So if you want to know what mine measures, the back one measures about, let's see, it's about 2.5 centimeters, and then the front one on mine is about 4 centimeters. Make sure that you shape your face back and the beak back to how you want it. So now you're going to return to where you left off, and then just place your yarn marker, and we're going to make an increase round. So for this round you're going to make 1 single crochet into 3 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 4th stitch, and then you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So 1 single crochet into 3 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the 4th stitch. Repeat this pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. So now for mine I have 30 stitches in the round. Then I'm going to move my yarn marker up, and I'm going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch around for 3 rounds. So 3 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch around. You want to maintain the same stitch count for these next 3 rounds. Then I'm going to show you what it looks like. It looks like this so far. Then you just take and move the yarn marker to where you left off, and this time we're going to make a decrease round, which means we're going to decrease the number of stitches in the round. So you're going to take and go make 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then you're going to make your decrease stitch. So you're going to take your crochet hook. It's also known as single crochet 2 stitches together. So take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on the hook, go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. Go ahead and yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through all 3 loops for a decrease stitch, or single crochet 2 stitches together. And you're going to repeat this pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. I'm going to make 1 more set with you. So 1 single crochet into 3 stitches, and then single crochet 2 stitches together, or make your decrease stitch. So go ahead, finish that pattern, and then come back. And now I'm back to 24 stitches in the round. Then just take and move your yarn marker up, and you're going to make 1 single crochet into every stitch around for a total of 3 rounds. So for these next 3 rounds you're going to maintain the same stitch count. And again, my last stitch count was 24, so I'm going to maintain a stitch count of 24, making 1 single crochet in every stitch around for 3 rounds. So after you finish your 3 rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch around, go ahead and slip stitch into the next stitch over, And do that again for you. So you just take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch over, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. Then go ahead and finish off, just yarn over, and then just pull enough yarn through for a loose yarn end. And now we're going to make the feet and the tail. So now go ahead and set this portion aside and then get your craft wire. And again, I'm using my 16 gauge craft wire. You're going to need 2 pieces of this craft wire that are 3.5 inches long each. So now I have 2 pieces, approximately 3.5 inches long each. And then you're going to need 2 more pieces that are the same size, 3.5 inches each, for the little claws. So now you want to make the claws. So I made my claws so that I had 2 in the front and then 1 in the back, and then the rest will go straight up. And so what I did was I just took one of the pieces, and then you're going to fold it to form a loop. Just like that. And then that'll form one of the claws. And then you're going to take your other piece about halfway, make a little U shape. And then you can go through the center if you want of the loop. And then you're just going to twist it around. Let me put it back in. And then I'm just going to twist it around. I'm twisting it out. So I just folded it across each other, and then I'm going to fold it around. And then I'm going to fold the other side around until I just loop it around the wire. And then once you've looped it around, then you can decide which one's going to go in the front and then which one will go in the back. So now I have them looped around. So that I have a 2 claws in the front that you can kind of bend and mold, and then you have 1 in the back. And then you can trim them too if you need to. So they're looped around. And then I'm just going to put them next to each other. And I think I'm happy with that, but you could always trim them if you need to, but I'm going to keep them long. And then you have your feet. So go ahead and set your feet aside for now. We're going to make the red portion that's going to sew the feet to the bird. So now you're going to take your red colored yarn. We're going to drape it across our 4 fingers. Use your thumb to stabilize, and then wrap the yarn around your 2 middle fingers and hold it in place with your pinky and your thumb for the magic circle. Take your crochet hook, go right under those 2 loops, bring up a loop, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for a slip knot. Then you're going to make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. And then you're going to close it the same way that you did before. And don't close it all the way. You're going to have a little bit of an opening there for fitting the claws through. Then you're just going to make 1 single crochet into each stitch around, and that will leave you with a stitch count of 6. So 1 single crochet into each stitch for 1 round. So here's my 5th and my 6th. Then you're going to take and make a slip stitch into the next stitch over. Then you're going to go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to sew this piece onto the bird. And you're going to need 2 of these. And then just turn it inside out so that the loose yarn end is on the inside. And then go ahead and make your second piece. So now you have your 2 pieces, and you have the wrong side with the loose yarn end. And you're going to take your claw and you're going to take through the center of the magic circle on the right side, just bring the claw through. And then you're just going to take and bring this through to the bird. So go ahead and bring the bird and then place where you would like to have the feet on the bird. So for mine, I went 3 rounds up and then in line with the black portion of the face. And then you can remove the claw for now, and you're going to take and sew this portion onto the bird. So get the long end that you left for sewing and put it onto your tapestry needle. But first I'm going to bring the loose yarn end through first from the center. Then you're going to take and just sew all around the base of the portion where the leg's going to come out of the bird. And you're going to repeat the same thing for the other side where you want the other leg to come out. And again, I line it up with the black portion. Make sure that they're even. So now you should have the 2 pieces sewn in place. Oops, I have something on this one. And you're ready to place the legs on. You should have the long ends that you left for sewing still on the inside. We're going to tie that around the coiled wire. So now you're just going to take your feet, and the 2 prongs go in the front and then one goes towards the back. And then just take the long portion of the leg and bring it right down the center of the magic circle of the piece that you just sewed on. And then determine the length that you want. Let me just make sure I have it placed. There we go. And then once you've determined the length that you want, go ahead and fold the wire in on itself on the inside and then coil it around itself. And then you can kind of bring the leg back down. So I'm going to have mine about, it's a couple centimeters showing. And then you can take on the inside and just take those loose yarn ends that you had and kind of sew around the coiled wire with your tapestry needle. To secure the loop in place. So I held the leg in place, and then I have my loop. I'm just going to fold it down. I'm going to fold it upwards. And then you can take and sew it in place with your tapestry needle. So you just kind of go in and out through the leg portion and through the loop. And the whole time I'm holding the leg because I don't want it to go back inside. And then I'm just going through the loop that I created on the inside with the wire and just sewing it in place. And then you can take and just tie a knot around the loop with the loose yarn ends. And then you can trim the loose yarn ends. And then you have one leg finished. And you can adjust the claws and trim them as needed. So that claw is not going anywhere. And you're going to repeat the process with the other leg. Repeat the same thing with the other claw. And then you have both claws in place for the bird. And you can see how it holds up the bird really well. I like that 16 gauge. And then you can twist it, maneuver it when you're finished to get the claws more the way that you want them.